Trail Council, which oversees all of the Scout troops in the 5-county region of Western New York. Mr. Confer is very passionate about the outdoors. For the past 2 years, he has written a weekly nature column. He is no stranger to many Ritter alumni. For 15 years, he helped Mrs. Regina Brown's classes at Royalton-Hartland Elementary in getting to know local wildlife as he led classroom discussions about plants and animals. I, along with 16 of my fellow classmates, were in Mrs. Brown's 4th grade class. Mr. Confer took us on a nature hike through the Royalton-Hartland Ravine Park. He eagerly took notes about the plants that we saw and the animal tracks that we came across. Mr. Confer is a lifelong Gasport resident. He and his wife, Bernadette, have a daughter, Alexandria, who is enrolled in Royalton-Hartland's pre-K program. Please welcome Mr. Bob Confer.
So it's your last day of school, a hot day like this, you probably want to get out of here in a hurry, so I'm going to keep this speech, just like me, short and sweet. Most of the commencement speakers across the country today are going to be talking about the future. I won't. Instead, I want to talk about your past and present, because I want to challenge you to always remember who you are and where you came from. And just where did you come from? If you've been paying attention to the news lately, you probably saw that Business First came out with their annual rankings of the Western New York school districts. Where did we end up? 70th. So some of you might get school envy from that and wish you had gone to Clarence or Williamsville like all the cool kids. Some of you might even worry that you were cheated out of a world-class education as you head out into the real world. Don't. I strongly believe that you can toss aside those silly rankings. By coming to Roy Hart and living in this area, you're more prepared for work, family, and community than any young adult at those larger, fancier schools. I often tell people this. There's a reason that Clark Kent was raised on a farm. If he was raised in Metropolis, he never would have become Superman. I say that because only here, out in this quaint little village in Middleport, out in the countryside of Gasport, can you develop the traits, the character, the life skills to become the world's next superhero. None of you were born on the planet Krypton, but just by being here at Roy Hart, you've been given superpowers of your own that can't be achieved elsewhere. For starters, think about the selflessness, the love of community, the love of your fellow man, and the empathy that you've developed here. In the big city and suburbs, most people consider making a donation their way of making an impact. But not here. A small community survives and flourishes because everyone is directly involved in it. Think about the experience you've had helping people, going on mission trips, helping at fundraisers, and making the world a better place with your blood, sweat, and tears. If you were like Will Woodman, you were involved in the Boy Scout program, and you undertook service projects and made Middleport better. If you were like Kelsey Volker, a community all-star, you volunteered for and really enjoyed helping countless organizations. Because of that, you are now prepared to go out into the bigger world and change it. And God knows this world needs a lot of changing. Your superpowers don't end there. A lot of you probably thought you were superheroes in purple and white on the diamond, the field, or the court. If you went to a larger school, you wouldn't have had that chance because there's only so many roster spots available on a team. But here you had that chance to participate, and you had the chance to excel in athletics and in life. You might have been like Amber Villela, who was a Time Warner Athlete of the Week, one of the premier student athletes in Western New York. You might have been like Cameron Swift, who showed that our athletes can beat the very best that the entire state can throw at us. Every one of you had the chance to be an athlete. From that, you gained major life skills: discipline, teamwork, a sense of urgency, and the ability to perform under stress. If any of you have read my columns over the years, you know what I think about Common Core. And judging by Roy Hart's opt-out rates on some of the exams, I know where a lot of families stand on this. Common Core stifles creativity, it stifles free thought, it promotes uniformity. Common Core is rotten to the core. So how do you overcome Common Core? With a stellar, nationally recognized arts program at Roy Hart that gave every one of you the chance to think outside of the box, to make things out of nothing, to draw, to sing, to act, to learn how to speak in front of a crowd, and how to turn ideas into a reality. I'm sure that two-time All-State trombonist Ben Bacon can attest to what the arts meant for him. So can Desiree Taylor, who was the Outstanding Art Student of the Year. And let's not forget the trades. I'm a manufacturing guy, so I tell people all the time, college isn't for everyone, and nor should it be. If you want to make good money, you do what people don't do anymore, and that's get dirty and do things with your mind and your hands. Here we have a culture that promotes work. BOCES is not for second-class students. It's for first-class students who are wise beyond their years and know what they want out of life. Take Haley Moore, for example. The cosmetology major and Skills USA competitor dominated in school and is already working in a salon to pay her way through nursing school. Or how about Joe DeMeo, a superstar welder who had a paid internship at a local welding shop and will be attending the new welding program at NCCC. And it doesn't end there. We're all here tonight for one reason, and that's a good old-fashioned education. And there is no better place to get one than right here. We have stellar teachers, small classes, an environment in which you could receive personal attention. It's a welcoming place to learn, even if you didn't want to. And even if you didn't want to, they made sure that you did. And where else could you find such a friendly learning culture where you could master the sciences, math, English, and history? Look at the accomplishments of our top two, Ben Bacon and Avery Green. They can hang with any of the great minds graduating today across this country, and they will. So never leave here thinking that you were cheated, that you didn't get the best in life coming from a small town. You were given the best in life. You were given powers and abilities that students would never dream of getting in the bigger schools. That's an incredible foundation to build off of. Doesn't matter if you're going to trade school, college, work, or starting a family. You have been given so much to do so much. The key is to never forget who you are and never forget where you came from. You will kick the world's butt because you have ram power. You have character, empathy, moxie, work ethic, creativity, and intelligence because of where you came from. You can be the next Superman or Supergirl. You will come to realize that as you adjust to your new life. And you will really appreciate that 10 to 20 years down the road when you're raising a family, moving up in the workplace, or sacrificing your time and energy for others. You are unique, just as Roy Hart is unique. Before I leave, I want you to ponder those who made that all possible for you. Someone once said it takes a village to raise a child, and it does. The contributions of your teachers, the school staff, coaches, scout leaders, pastors, and neighbors are immeasurable. In the coming weeks, before you move on to adulthood, take the time to thank those who helped make who you are. And tonight, please thank your parents. They knew that Gasport and Middleport were the places to raise a family. This small school, the fields, the forests, the canal, the solitude, the quality of life. Many of them sacrificed a lot to give you that. Think of how many of your parents had hour-long commutes to Buffalo or Rochester just to ensure that you had a good home and a good community. Others did not pursue big jobs in bigger cities, knowing full well that cities and the suburbs were not a place to raise a child. And it was never easy. You guys are the kids of the Great Recession. When you were 9 or 10, your parents struggled with lost jobs, lost retirements, and lost homes. Because of that, they shed a lot of tears, and you did too. But they made it work. It wasn't easy. So tonight, give your mom and dad a hug, and just don't do it because I told you so. So good luck to all of you. You've made Roy Hart proud all these years, and you will continue to do so for the rest of your lives. Thank you.